Hello, everybody, and welcome to our Christmas special. I have Six and Garrick both here. How's it going, guys?
Pretty good. Great to be here.
Doing all right.
Good. Well, we've got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about our top 5 games of the year each. So it's 15 games, probably some crossovers, I bet. And then we, at the end, like we normally do every year, we'll have a little montage that I put together of everything that we did throughout the year on the channel, which is a lot of fun. But let's talk about the year in general. This has definitely been the best year in games in a long time. And I just want to know, like, off the top of your guys' heads, what your favorite part of the year was. For me, in particular, I'll start. It was going down to California with you guys, being flown down by the amazing guys at My. Yeah, for people who don't know, maybe are new to the channel or just missed that whole thing entirely, the guys who make Skyforge and Armored Warfare were launching their games. They wanted to celebrate it, and earlier in their year they had asked us to make guides, and they invited us down. They flew us down, and I got to see you guys. It was a lot of fun, and I think that was the highlight of my year. And it was just like right at the end of it, and that's a good highlight for a really good year. What about you, Six? What's your favorite thing?
Well, my favorite thing of the year is not gaming related at all. And that kind of segues me into my list because I got married this year.
Oh, you did, yeah.
Little cheese ball. This
I
one.
know.
Yeah.
Talking about real life stuff in the gaming genre.
What is this real life you speak of?
I mean, to be fair, I actually am really happy for you because I've been around since the beginning of that. You and I started raiding together when you met her. It was amazing.
She put up with my rating and everything. Like, honey, I'm sorry. I can't go to this fancy dinner tonight. There's a raid.
Yeah, it was good times.
Yeah,
but,
it's Tuesday. You're going to call back.
The best part is that throughout all of the years that everything has happened, we've actually never talked to her. And what is it she calls us? Your online friends, is that what it is? The weird online people.
Weird online people.
It's great.
She was worried when we were meeting that you were going to be weird, and I told her I'm weird too, so it's fine. I guess she didn't understand that.
We told her that, of course, we're weird.
Of course.
I mean, yeah. I mean, 2 of my best friends are online and live in a different part of the country. Of course, everybody's going to be weird with that. So that you, like you said, leads into the fact that your top 5 list is different than ours, but we'll talk about that after we talk about what your favorite time of the year was.
I can't really decide. I really enjoyed the trip out to California, but like Metal Gear Solid 5 released, and it's like something I've been waiting on for an incredibly long time, and like there are so many things. I think my favorite thing about this year is that I cannot pick a favorite time of this year.
That shows you how good this year has been. Like 2015 has not only been a good year for us as people and as gamers, but as our channel. I don't know if you guys have seen it, but we're like really close to breaking 10K subs, which is pretty good because that's the goal that we set out last year. We've made some really cool business partners basically throughout the year. It's just everything has gone really, really well for us, and even down to the point of like meeting Day 9 and getting close with him and just that kind of stuff. It's been a really good year for our channel, and with that being said, it's been a really good year for games. Now let's just jump right into our games. Now, Six, you in particular don't have a top 5 games of this year because you got married and you were really busy. So what's your top 5 games? Is it just the ones that you've played in this year?
Exactly. So at the beginning of this year, I told my wife that I was going to make a sacrifice, and I wasn't going to buy
the ultimate sacrifice.
Any games this year. And that's a sacrifice I made because we had to pay for our wedding ourselves. So I didn't buy any new games this year. So a lot of these games are free games or games I've already had, and so my list is a little bit different. So they're not even games that came out this year. So, well, most of them.
That's fine. I'm sure we'll fill out the rest of the great games of the year, but I'll start. So my number 5. So counting down from number 5 to number 1. My number 5 is, by the way, we haven't discussed this. So just so the audience knows, nobody has talked about our list, basically. I know vaguely of what's on your guys' list, but we haven't talked about it. So this would be kind of fun. Number 5 for me is Rainbow Six Siege. I think it's an excellent shooter, feels really good, and it's probably the most unique shooter to come out in a few years, with all of the tactical online stuff that you have to do. And that game is best played when things are going really well, like when everything is working together. And because of that, I think because of the uniqueness and just the how much fun I've had with it, it's my number 5. Garrick, we'll move to you. What's yours?
So I went for a more artsy-fartsy standpoint on my number 5. My number 5 is Soma.
Oh,
if
okay.
anybody's unaware, a horror game. And I chose it because it, from everything that I saw and experienced, it was a game that, it wasn't like really strong on gameplay, and it wasn't like meant to be like that. It was meant to be something that's like interesting and like thought-provoking, and it makes you ask these questions, kind of like, what does it mean to be human? What does it mean to be sentient? Like, what does it mean when, biology and machine integrate? And I think it's important for video games as a medium to do stuff like that and ask those questions of its fan base and of people in general, if, it's something that we're all interested in seeing. And I think it's important going forward to have games and stuff that are willing to go out there and, instead of what would it be like if you were Master Chief? Like, what would it be like if you had to stay alive by being a robot?
Yeah, it's very philosophical.
Right, and so that's why I think it earned a spot on my top 5 this year.
Cool. 6, what's your 5?
So my number 5 spot is Skyforge, actually. So.
Oh yeah, good shout out. I'm glad one of us put it on the list.
It's if anybody's not aware, it's a free-to-play MMO, and so I needed to fill my MMO void somehow. So this one was free. It's pretty good. It's not the most polished MMO, but it's certainly very fun to play. And I sunk a lot of time into it, and all I have to say is Sphere Grid. And that is all.
Yeah, Sphere Grid. There you go. No, that's a good number 5. I was hoping one of us would put it on, because I in some degree, like not just to detract from our talks here, I kind of felt bad not putting it on my list, because it's like they did so much for us this year, Flying House being really nice, but at the end of the day, it didn't make it onto my list because there's so many good games that came out this year. Speaking of the games, number 4 on my list is a game that technically came out this year, but has been in early access for quite some time, which is Kerbal Space Program. I have sunk almost 400 hours into that game. I've always been really big into sci-fi and space and everything, but recently I hadn't, touched on that, and I think the most recent thing that really invigorated my imagination as far as space is concerned is Stargate, and that it's been a while since, Stargate was on air and everything, and Kerbal kind of took that spot. It's a really good simulator, and I think it's creating a generation of people who are really, really, really interested in space, just because it kind of takes that simulator feel but makes it really, really fun. So yeah, that's my number 4. You guys really need to play it, by the way. Garrick, what's yours?
So for my number 4, it is Dying Light.
Yeah, there you go.
If you've not heard of it, I would not be surprised, because I did not know of it until the day it came out, I think.
Yeah.
And I was waiting for Bloodborne to happen, and Zen told me about this game, and we looked at it, and I was like, whoa, this looks awesome. And then we played it, and it was awesome. And it just, again, it came out of nowhere, and it's a ton of fun to play. I mean, anything that plays like Mirror's Edge, sign me up. Anything that has zombie killing plus Mirror's Edge, sign me up twice.
Yep.
I couldn't have been happier with that surprise just early on this year.
Yeah, huge surprise.
I would love to play that game again or something else like it.
All right, what's your 6?
My number 4 is StarCraft. So,
okay. Legacy of the Void, or just in general?
Well, I recently picked up Legacy of the Void, but that's only because I got it for free.
Yeah, there you go.
But no, the Legacy of the Void really cemented it for me, because I stink at StarCraft, and being able to cooperatively play with somebody else that also sucks kind of makes up for the difference. So, like you, Zen.
Yeah, well, thanks, guy. I do suck at StarCraft, and I will admit that. But you're right. The co-op on that game really changed the way that I view it, because suddenly it's not as like
intimidating.
Challenge. Yeah, intimidating. Thank you. That's the word I'm looking for. All right, moving on to number 3. Speaking of surprises, Until Dawn is my number 3. This game came out of nowhere too. I think nobody knew anything about it, other than it was going to be some cheesy B-movie game that's coming out on PlayStation. Turns out it was incredible. It's a narratively driven game. Think like all the Telltale stuff, except a bit more dark. And the reason it's on my list is because it consumed my life for a good 2 weeks. I watched an entire person play through it, and then because I watched that entire person play through it, I was really interested in all the other stuff, so I watched another 4 people play through it, and then I just went and hunted down like videos of all of the different changes that happened in the game based on their decisions and like what all is different, and I really pieced together the mystery of that game, and it just, like I said, it consumed my life for like 3 weeks. That's why it is on my list. What about you, Garrick?
So hopefully this is where all the hard decisions start coming to light.
They are, yeah.
As evidenced by my number 3 pick, which is Metal Gear Solid 5, The Phantom Pain. So if anybody knows anything about me, they will know that I am an insane Metal Gear fan. Rabid, if you will. And Metal Gear Solid 5, Phantom Pain was something I've been waiting for a very long time for. And I was so excited, and I definitely got my hands on it, and it just plays phenomenally. Like, the story is, that same kind of like classic Metal Gear spin twist type, you have no idea what's going on until the very end type thing. And it's really more for Metal Gear fans than it is for like people who are new and interested in the series, because like all the plot is kind of like a Dark Soulsian style where it's all in cassette tapes and you just have to like go and listen to it yourself and go pick it out. So it's more for the people like me, the fanatics, but it still plays phenomenally as a game in and of itself. The only reason it's not even higher on my list is that the microtransactions and fob stuff left a very sour taste in my mouth.
Yeah.
Is there? I don't know.
But as the end to the Metal Gear series, I think it is highly appropriate, if a little rushed, but it is to date one of the best games to play, like just in terms of game feel and excitement and tension level I think I've ever experienced in my life.
Yeah, and to piggyback on that, you get to look forward to whatever the spiritual successor to Kojima's games are, now that Kojima has his own studio and is free from the tyranny of Konami. All right, Six, what is your number 3?
My number 3 is
Six Skull Helmet.
Heroes of the Storm. And this is another one of those games where I love playing with other people, especially you guys, because it's so much better when you can share in the misery and failures and ups and downs than in this game. It's so much fun to play, especially when they introduced Cho'Gall. Holy crap.
I'm the Cho to your Gall.
And it's such a blast to play. Even if you win, lose, doesn't matter. It's so much fun to play, and we sunk a good amount of time into it, so it had to make the list.
Good amount of money, too.
Oh, yeah.
That needs to be said.
Yeah. Not this year, though. Last year.
Well, this year for me. Yeah. It's funny how much money you put into a game can actually determine the thought of how you enjoy that game.
How you rate it.
It's, Yeah, exactly. So moving on to number 2, I'm going to steal one of Garrick's because it was good, which is Dying Light was my number 2. I actually knew about the game beforehand. I knew about it when it was in development a year or two beforehand. And I was expecting it to be really bad because Techland typically does a really bad job of making narrative games. Now, the narrative in Dying Light is not very good. It's cliche, and you see a lot of things coming. However,
it's very Far Cry 3.
It is, but it is so good to play. That game plays so much fun. And here's the thing. This is really what skyrocketed it up to number 2 for me, is that they came out with their enhanced edition, coming up in January here, which they've announced is increasing the level cap, adding a ton of stuff, but it is preparing for their major expansion, which was going to be a minor expansion. However, they did such a good job on the game, so many people bought it and enjoyed it, that they've turned it into a major expansion, and it's adding like as much content as the base game. And I love when studios really grab onto something that they know is a success and aren't just deciding to make a new game from it. Like, let's expand on this game, let's give more content to people, which is why it went up onto my number 2 list, aside from it just being a fun game. What's your number 2, Garrick?
So, drum roll, please, and this may come as a shock to many of my fans, but number 2 on my list this year is Bloodborne.
Wait. Really? I thought it was going to be number 1. That's interesting.
Number
Okay, go
2,
on.
guys. I'm sorry. So, Bloodborne kind of has like a down and up for me this year. I love Dark Souls games. Bloodborne was like a brand new style, like, and I started playing it, and I played it like nonstop until I beat it. And then I like took a break for a little while, and that break kind of got longer and longer, and then I jumped in a little bit, then jumped back out. And it didn't really like solidify for me how much I really enjoyed the game until the new DLC came out, the Old Hunters. And the addition of the Old Hunters like really rounded out a lot of stuff, and added a bunch of like cool, interesting like lore points to the game. And it's like a really solid addition to kind of complete the set of Bloodborne. And after playing through all that, like I had to play all the way through to get to the point where I could access the DLC again, and I had so much fun blasting my way through the game again, you know, kind of with all my knowledge there, and it really felt like that Dark Souls high, but it just wasn't quite as good as my number 1 due to like some loading issue problems early on, and just like kind of how I had to ride the train until the DLC kind of showed up to kind of round out the experience.
Gotcha. All right, 6, what was yours?
My number 2 is Hearthstone. So I
Cheater.
believe I had this on my list last year. I don't recall, but I've sunk more.
You did.
I've sunk more time into this game probably than anything else, especially when it came out on mobile. Oh my god.
You know, let's be honest. It's because you play while you poop. Most people do.
Don't tell anybody.
It's not a weird thing. I mean, it's normal. It's normal. Go on.
But
It's plooping, if you will.
but yeah, I have so much fun playing this game, and just they keep adding new adventures and card packs, and it's just I have a lot of fun playing it, and it's just a great time sink. And you don't even have to spend money; you could just get your collection over time. It's a whole lot of fun. I love playing.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think anybody needs to describe Hearthstone. Everybody knows how good it is. Yeah. Well, moving on to number 1. This was a decision I had a hard time with. There was quite a few games that I wanted to be my number 1, but one of the stipulations we had was that, or actually we had 2. We had if it was a multiplayer game, we had to have put 10 hours in, and if it was a single-player game, we had to have finished it. And this was a game that I recently went back to play through and finish, so I can see if it was going to be on my list. And Fallout was going to be up there, and I started playing Fallout some more, and I was like, you know what, this isn't there. But for sure, my game of the year this year is The Witcher 3, for many reasons. One, it's an amazing RPG. It's they blend the side quest with the main quest so perfectly. I just wish that BioWare and other studios will learn from that, because it's just the way the narrative flows through the game. You don't know whether you're on a side quest or a main quest a lot of the time. You're just doing a quest, and suddenly you're like, oh, this has to do with like Ciri, and oh my gosh, this is a main quest. Like, how did that happen? And it's just so good from a narrative point of view. A gameplay point of view, the game plays great, the combat is really fun, and just overall grabbed me. Like, as a big RPG player, I didn't like The Witcher 2 or The Witcher original, the enhanced edition of Witcher 1. In fact, I most famously have stopped the Witcher 1 series on our channel way back in the day because I got so fed up with it. But The Witcher 3 somehow just came out of the ring just punching like every other game down this year. And the thing that put it on the top of my list, and it needs to be mentioned, is that CD Projekt Red has to be the studio of the year by some margin. Not only did they put out their game, they also released 12 free DLC through the course of a couple months, just like trickling it out. Sure, it wasn't the best things. A lot of it was cosmetic, but most DLC is cosmetic. And then they put out an expansion recently, which adds a lot of really cool things, like an Ocean's 11 little quest that's a lot of fun. And they have another expansion coming out. All that to mention that it's also DRM free, and they are the most consumer-friendly studio this year, and other people really, really need to learn from their business decisions. So The Witcher won out for me. What about you, Garrick?
So, in a similar vein, I too have given my game of the year to The Witcher 3.
There you go.
Ooh.
And if that doesn't speak volumes to how good The Witcher 3 is, to have beaten out both Metal Gear Solid and Bloodborne on my list.
Yeah, I'm
I
surprised.
don't know what else to tell
surprised.
you. Because in addition to all those things that Zen has described, I mean, it's just an incredible step for RPGs in general. I mean, Dragon Age I thought was it, and not 6 months later, CD Projekt Red drops The Witcher 3 on us, and I'm just astonished from start to finish. Like everything, like Zen said, flows like very naturally. You don't really know if what you're doing is the right thing. You're just doing what you think is the right thing in the moment, and the way that affects the narrative is not the black and white that we're all so used to, or Paragon Renegade. It's, well, you made this decision and those are the consequences, and like that's how it actually works, is the decisions have many consequences, not just kill the bag of puppies or save the burning orphanage.
Yeah, and to piggyback off of that same thought, this week I put up an episode where, minor spoilers, nothing major though. You're in Novigrad and you're having to break into an area. Triss is there with you, and her idea is to have it so you're turning her in, and that's how you get in. That's how you kind of get into the compound. And I didn't know how far I wanted to take that ruse because I didn't want to hurt Triss. I didn't want her like tortured or anything. And you get to a point where it's kind of the line is crossed and it's time for you to step in and intervene if you want to. But you don't know when that line is, like, actually. You don't know, like, should I step in earlier? Should I step in later? Unlike in, a BioWare game, it would have, like, a dark-sided option if it was, like, a Star Wars game. And you're like, okay, this means I should go with the light-sided one instead. It's not so black and white, as you said, and that is so evident in the Bloody Baron quest as well, which is something early on in the game. And,
absolutely.
oh my gosh, that's so good.
I mean, it honestly feels like you're stepping into Geralt's life, which is, I think, the ultimate goal for any RPG, is that you're stepping into that role. And CD Projekt Red just like nailed it all together.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, from interface to graphics to story content to dialogue options. I mean, it's just, there's so much in that game. And I could easily recommend it to anybody, and I think that's why it deserves Game of the Year.
Yeah, one last thing on that too, because I just thought of it. The reason why I would recommend it to anybody is because in an RPG, you should be controlling a character, whether it's your character or a character they've given you. You should be controlling that character and thinking about that character's decisions that they would make, not that you would make. And in The Witcher, you're putting yourself in the position of Geralt, and you're making his choices that he would make, whereas in something like Dragon Age or Mass Effect, just as prominent examples, you're putting the shoes on of that character and you're making the decisions based on what you would do in those situations. And I think that's the difference in really good RPGs, is you're actually playing as a character and not playing as yourself. Anyways, that's enough of raving about that game.
Jeez.
People need to pick that game up.
Yeah.
Six, what's your game of the year? It's going to end on a bad note here.
Yeah, sure is. Yeah. No, but The Witcher 3 is it's on sale now, so I am going to pick it up.
Yeah. You better after that.
As long as he doesn't say Black Ops 3, we're fine.
Yeah, exactly.
No. So mine is going to be a little odd because the game is over 12 years old, I think, at this point, but
Uh-oh.
but it's going to be Eve, actually. It's a very odd pick. And I know you guys make fun of me for this game, but
I mean, you like your spreadsheets.
I do. Spreadsheet online simulator. But I gave up the game.
I mean, you can't see it, but I'm just face palming.
No, I know. My list isn't really in any particular order because I did play all these games pretty much equally. But this is the one that I've been more recently had a lot of fun with. But I gave the game up last year because I had to save some money, but I recently just picked it back up and I just been having a lot of fun, and just I got into a Wormhole Corporation. Ooh, not that either one of you know what that is, but
I mean, it sounds fancy.
Yeah, it sounds fancy.
It's really complicated. I don't understand
and it's really fun. The first day I got back, I killed a really expensive ship and it was great. So I've been having a good time.
Look, as long as you can have a different #1 game than us, I'm okay with that.
And I do have all of your games like in my wish list on Steam, so they will be purchased shortly.
Yeah. Yeah,
So
see, that speaks volumes, right?
Yeah.
Like all of the games that were on our Game of the Year list, you're like, I gotta get them.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Now that you have the time.
Yeah,
Cool.
and money.
Well,
and money.
Yeah, that pretty much wraps up our Game of the Year discussions. I think this year's going to be one to definitely remember. The Witcher 3 is going to cause ripples throughout RPGs for years to come. You got Cyberpunk coming up from CD Projekt Red as well. But I think Mass Effect is going to be changed drastically based on just the launch of The Witcher and stuff like that. So I'm really looking forward to that. And overall, I just feel like the gaming landscape is changing for the good in a way that that you're not seeing like these archetype, like you're not seeing a main character as a black character just to be a black character anymore. You know, we're getting into that situation where like no spoilers on Star Wars, right? But all I'm going to say is in Star Wars, they have characters in there, like they have a strong female lead and they have a black lead character, and there is no discussion in the movie like, oh, you're a female. No, I don't know about that. Like they don't have to point that out, and I think games are getting to that point as of the end of this year, and I'm really looking forward to the repercussions that will have as well. But aside from that, I think the end of this year's and the beginning of next year is going to be really cool for the channel. I know I have some plans that I haven't told you guys. I haven't told anybody for the channel that is really going to shake some foundations. And I think just by the methods of constantly growing as video creators, we're going to have some really cool content for this next year. So I'm looking forward to it. What is the number one game you're looking forward to coming out next year? I forgot to ask you guys this.
Oh dear.
Before we started. So I'll go first so you can kind of think about it. For me, it's kind of a tie between Mass Effect Andromeda and The Division, but I think Andromeda is going to win out because I'm really hesitant about The Division. It could be good, and like change everything about how shooter MMOs work, but at the same time it could also be a massive failure. So I think my game I'm looking forward to the most is Andromeda, because I want to see how BioWare has evolved. I want to see how The Witcher has changed that, and most of all I want to see how BioWare RPGs are going to start kind of coming out and changing RPG just landscape in general. So Garrick, what about you? Do you have a game you're looking forward to?
Dark Souls 3.
See, yeah, I knew that was going to be your answer, so that's why I
don't know. Yeah, I don't know why you asked me that question. Yeah. Dark Souls 3.
Well, it's more or less for them. So you got a Dark Souls boner. Six, what's yours?
Dark Souls
Mine's
3.
gotta be Overwatch. It's
yeah.
gotta be, because I only got to play for a weekend for 2 days because I didn't get into the alpha or beta, whatever it was you got into, jerk.
It's pre-alpha, ultra beta, all right?
Just the 2 days I played were so much fun, and I just cannot wait to die.
Yeah, I can't wait for that game because, again, it's going to change the scape of shooters. We see the arena shooter coming back in the form of Unreal Tournament and
Unreal
Overwatch,
too.
and there's just so many of those kind of games coming out, and I really can't wait for Overwatch. As you know, I've had a lot of fun with it, but I think I would have had a lot more fun if more of my friends had gotten into the beta, and that wasn't the case. So I'm just kind of
shaking my fist.
Yeah, I'm kind of waiting for you guys to get in, and then we'll kill it. But I didn't put that on my looking forward to game because I feel like I already have it, despite the fact that the beta's down until mid-January. Yeah, not to rub it in or anything.
Sure.
Anyways, with that being said, I just, Merry Christmas to everybody. This is our Christmas special,
Christmas.
But also Happy Holidays. And until next year, we'll see you guys next time. Why don't you guys go ahead and say bye?
Bye.
See you, everybody.
Bye. Now, our Grave Golem is big and bad. It's got 68 skulls on it, right? So it's going to do a lot of damage. And then there's us. And I think you're seeing the picture. This is like the field goal right here. Let's hit play. I'm going to come in and I'm going to hit the stun and boom, knocked her right into it. And we call that a goal.
Hitting a long one. And it's gone in! Amazing!
The Wedge of Destiny. Heck yes, I'm taking the Wedge of Destiny because it's hilarious. I will take it. Can I rotate her? There you go.
You're doing good. Just stand there.
DLL file.
Stand there a little longer.
No,
Absorb.
uninstall and reinstall Java.
But don't install Bing. Whatever you do, don't install Bing.
Listen to me. You need Flash. I could immediately tell the moment that guy walked around the corner that Zen was gonna panic and chuck a Molotov.
Shut up. This place is actually really cool. I just noticed, like, this is some kind of, like, floating. Oh, no, Lara. I hit E. It didn't. I don't know. I don't know why I didn't do it. I was too busy admiring the area. That's what it was. Okay, don't screw this up again. Here we go. Ah! I'm burying my head in shame. I was so bad. Why did I hit shift? Why did I think shift was the key to hit there? Roach, no, where you going? Where you going, buddy? I keep doing that. Okay. So, there should be... Someone said that there was a chest in here.
Interesting.
That's... Roach. 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 That's a whole lot of nope. Oh my gosh, that's nope.
What's great is when he dies during it, they have like a death sound, and it plays on the same channel. So it goes, it sounds really funny.
Look at this. Oh, this is ridiculous. Oh, this.
Check this out.
Oh my god. That was
Looks
sick.
like I don't have to play Pharaoh
That
anymore.
was a sick jump from her though. She jumped over the shot.
Oh, nice, dude. Holy shit.
Sweet.
Surprise, mother truckers!
Oh, what?
Impossible. Didn't
That's
happen.
sick.
I don't know. I thought there was a lot of wasp in like strawberry trees.
Strawberry trees.
Strawberry trees.
What planet did you live on?
Wow.
Wait,
What planet are you on?
It's like an apple tree, right?
wait. Where do strawberries not grow on trees?
It's like a bush.
They're on plants, like a little bush thing.
I mean, you could call that a tree. I've seen Bob Ross plant that shit. Fuck you both.
You. Wait, 5. No, 4? 3. I'm the worst hunter. Hey, I leveled up. I feel like I'm just gonna get like totally attacked out of nowhere. You could kill a crow. That's what it gets, man. That's what it gets for not running away from me. That was amazing. I didn't know you could do that. That was the first time I've tried.